Hey folks, Deano here again. This time with a special review. This is the Figuarts Darth Vader from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Also technically from Rogue One. And kind of technically A New Hope, but we'll get into that later. I'll be honest, I have not been keeping up with the Star Wars Figuarts quite as much as I probably should be. I'm an avid fan of the show, or the film. Not so much the recent shows, but we won't get into that. I haven't been keeping up with it, so I missed out on this guy when he released, and I was scouring the web for him, because quite frankly, I'm going to say it right here now, this is probably the best 1/12 scale Darth Vader you can get, period. Some people have said the new Mafex one is good. No thanks. I tried Mafex back in the day. Not a fan. I actually found this guy on Mandarake. He was 50 quid shipped, which I thought was a good deal at the time. And then he arrived in the country and got hit with a customs charge. So he ended up at the same price as anywhere else. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, but basically, I am in love with this figure. And before we go any further, if you're wanting a 6-inch Darth Vader on your shelf, this guy or the upcoming A New Hope, quote-unquote, reissue, is by far your best bet. I know some people have got an issue with the cape. So do I, to a degree. But once you have it sitting, it's actually not too bad. Let's get him off the turntable and take a look at his box. So it's your standard Star Wars Figuarts packaging. They have updated it a little bit since the last time I looked at these boxes. You've got Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi, SH Figuarts, Darth Vader, Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi, blah 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 blah. You've also got a nice bit of artwork in the back. In fact, let me quickly pull it out to show you. Sorry, headphone users. That would make an amazing poster, in my opinion. It is just a bit of cardback, but yeah, that's really nice. They went above and beyond for that, to be completely honest with you. Now that I've pulled that out, let's just have a look at the box. On the side, you've got a nice picture of him there. You've got a picture of him on the back. This is honestly one of Tamashi's more egregious cop-outs. The inner tunic and cape on the promotional figure looks 100 times better than what it does in the actual figure that they released, which is unfortunate. But that's not to say what we got wasn't bad. It's just we were spoiled looking at this. Or other people were. Like I said, I wasn't actually aware of this guy until recently, when I just went hunting. To be honest, I seen the quote-unquote reissue of him. What Tamashi are doing is re-releasing the guy, the figure, pretty much as is. They're just taking the tunic and putting it over his armour, like it was in A New Hope, and they're now saying it's from A New Hope. Which I mean is fair, because the Rogue One sort of suit design is almost identical to the A New Hope suit design. The only real difference is the chain. In the original trilogy, most of the time you either didn't see that chain whatsoever, or it was black. Whereas in Rogue One, they started this sort of, it was either in Rogue One or Jedi Survivor, or Jedi Outcast, one of the two. They started this sort of thing where his cape has a sort of collar piece to it, which I absolutely hate the look of that. I prefer the sort of flat look to his cape. So yeah, but overall, it's still a really nice figure, just not quite as good as what we got. So yeah, let's take a look at his accessories now. So in terms of accessories, he actually comes with quite a lot. We will start off with the lightsaber. So he comes with one lightsaber, which the blade is removable. We will discuss why shortly. But if you look at these details, like, look at that, you've even got the sort of clamp that held the Graflex middle section together. Because of course, anyone who knows like the original lightsaber hilts in A New Hope, and even I think Luke's Return of the Jedi, borrowed heavily from like different sort of light clamps from back in the day. So yeah, just the amount of detail they've put into this is astounding to me. Now, you can even see the bubble strip there, which is insane. You've got the black there. You've got the hoop, which doesn't actually do anything on this version, because in typical Tamashii fashion, you get two. This one, the hoop is replaced with a peg hole, and you'll see there is a peg on the figure itself. See if we can actually see that. I apologise for my lighting. Turns out sort of dark coloured figures do not respond well to this new lighting setup. Yeah, sits right there. Very accurate. Very pleased with how that works. Not that like most people will ever actually display it like that, but it is an option. You also get back there, Darth Vader. You also get this, which is a sort of swinging effect, and unlike most companies, I believe the same one came with the Mandalorian look, which is really just a repurposed Return of the Jedi tunic look. But yeah, unlike most, the swoosh effect is actually... Why is that not fitting together properly? Come on. There we go, that's it. So you'll see it's actually straight then angles. A lot of companies are just doing sort of like wave effect, as opposed to what it actually should be, which is him swinging it. Because if someone's swinging a lightsaber or anything in motion, you've got the straight edge and then you've got the bit tapering off. So yeah, that's a really good attention to detail there. But of course, you can pop that back in. I am sad to say that the extra effect piece does not work on the Black Series one. I'll do a quick comparison at the end. The main attraction to this figure, apart from the cloth good robes, is this. This is quite frankly beautiful, and I do not say that lightly. You've got the same sculpt as the helmet, which, once we get into actually viewing that, is probably one of the best A New Hope likeness helmets that we have ever gotten, and that is saying something. But yeah, you can see, if I can focus my light a little bit, you can just about see the likeness to Hayden Christensen in there. It is superb. It's you can tell that's Hayden Christensen in there, even though you only see a small part of it. And it is a separate piece. If you look at the bottom, it's skin tone under there. So for all we know, there might be a full Hayden Christensen burned up head sculpt under there, and we just can't see it, which is unfortunate. Yeah, one problem with having a glossy suit is that fingerprints and dust and guff just appear on it instantly. But yeah, you can just about make the red lens out there as well. And yeah, that's insane. You also get a replacement control box, which is all broken and scuffed up from when Obi-Wan decided to take the backside of his lightsaber and smack him with it. But yeah, really nice. Do appreciate that. In terms of hands, he comes with a pair of fists on him. I'll show you one of them right here. It's obviously a New Hope style, so they're not quite as glossy as they got in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Until you really look into it, you don't realise how much the suit changed between movies. Honestly, it's bonkers how much they changed. My personal favourite, going off on a tangent, is the Return of the Jedi design. I don't know what it is. I think it's the high gloss that I think really looks amazing. But unfortunately, the Return of the Jedi version that Tamashii put out had the plastic lower robes, which really put me off. Plus the cape. If you think this one's bad, the cape that came with the previous ones was horrendous. But yeah, it comes with a pair of sort of force choke hands. I'm using one as a lightsaber holding hand because it fits. If we use this as an example, it fits absolutely perfectly around the sort of control box and is also angled. So yeah, that fulfills a double purpose, which is really good. Really like that. He comes with a pair of force hands, almost sort of Kamehameha-like grippy hands. And you can see there is a lot of texture on there. It's just very black and kind of glossy, so you can't really see much of it. You have his actual lightsaber holding hands, which aren't quite as angled. You have a pair of relaxed hands. Not that Vader is ever relaxed in his life. You get a pair of relaxed sort of posy hands. That's to go on the two sort of control boxes on his belt when he sort of just holds them. And finally, you get a pair of pointing hands, which they are sculpted into a fist, so they're literally just for pointing. You can't use them for anything else. Not that Vader would ever be caught dead using a gun or a blaster. But yeah, there we go. Like I said, a large array of accessories. I really do appreciate the amount of effort Tamashii put into this guy, aside from the cape, but we'll get to that. In terms of details, it's insane. The helmet is accurate almost to a fault, because they've even put in sort of silver paint apps that, if you don't know, in A New Hope, the cameras back then did not pick up black well at all. And of course, Darth Vader is an almost all black, imposing person. So yeah, what they did was they highlighted some of the details with silver paint, and yeah, it actually works really well. I do really appreciate that. The Black Series did do it, but it used a grey sort of horrible plastic. So yeah. But yeah, probably the best helmet sculpt to date, and that's including the model kit that I reviewed back in the day. So yeah, his chest box is nicely detailed, nicely painted. You'll also notice the green and red parts are actually separate pieces. there's like a clear window overlay, and then the green and red are underneath it, so it gives it a nice bit of depth. You've got immaculate paintwork on the belt as well, and down the bottom you've just got his very glossy shin guards. So yeah, all in all, I love the paint apps and details on this figure. It's almost like a miniature Hot Toys. That's how far I'm going to go with this. It's insane how well. If we pop the cape off, you can see in a bit more detail just how much they did. The shoulders are the one things that are kind of annoying me about the figure itself. They aren't very tight. Well, they're tight, but they're tight to a fault. They tend to pop off or out as opposed to where they're supposed to be, which is a bit annoying to say the least. But yeah, you can deal with it. You see the tunic does actually go all the way around. Something a lot of people haven't really noted is that they're actually quite thin fabric themselves. It's not as if the fabric is dead cumbersome and bulky. Like, if I do that, you can see the light shining through it quite easily. So yeah, it's honestly a bit strange. The tunic piece is wired as well, by the way, so that can like float out of the way if you need it to. But let's be honest, Vader wasn't the most sprightly of characters. He had his bouts of anger, but that was about it. In terms of the cape itself, we'll show that off separately. Again, it's the same material as the tunic, in that it's quite thin, but for some reason they've used quite thick wires on it, which is bizarre considering that the wire they used on the tunic is the same wire that they used on the Figuarts Gohan, the new one. His white cape, it was a sort of flat wire, which did not show at all. Like, if you didn't see the stitch work, you wouldn't even know there was a wire in the tunic. But unfortunately, that does not transfer over to this guy. It's a much thicker wire, heavier wire. You can actually hear it. It holds its shape very well, but unfortunately, like, they've almost done too much with the cape. Like, personally, I wouldn't have minded at all. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind this cape at all, personally. It's a bit bulky at the shoulders, but if you spend some time with it, you can bring down that stupid collar and sort of hide it. But it still gives him like zero neck compared to what it should, which is a bit of a shame. But if you pull it down, it does look natural enough, I suppose. You do that, you'll see he does not have a neck with this cape. But you can have it draping naturally if you do spend some time with it. But it's the problem at the bottom. Like, it's wired at the edges, round the collar. Round the collar was not needed at all. Round the base, and you've also got, I will drape it out a bit just to show, you have 5 wires in total vertically. You've got the edge, inside, middle, inside, edge, and then one going around the outside as well, which helps it hold its shape, but the amount of fiddling you're going to have to go through to get it sitting in a natural pose is just like, yeah, just give us a wireless cape, Tamashi. Just do it. It's going to be a lot easier than this. best way to do it is to sort of corrugate down the cape and then sort of fiddle about with it at the bottom. So yeah, basically cape's okay, but I might be looking for alternatives. Let's get that one there. So in terms of articulation, I know this review is getting on a bit. I think I'll do the quick comparisons in a separate video at this point. But in terms of articulation, you can look up that much. You can barely look down, unfortunately, which is strange because seeing the reviews of the Return of the Jedi one, it had a lot of movement at the neck. So there is a bit of swivel, bit of side-to-side tilt, and all that good jazz. His arms can go up that far. They are on a sort of butterfly style joint, so his arms can get that much when you push it. In fact, even that's pushing it a little. We can get that much. Unhindered swivel, bicep rotation, double joint at the elbow, gets quite a lot of range for how bulky this suit is. Hinge and swivel at the wrist. It's hidden by the tunic, but he has a ball joint at the waist, which is very good. He does have ab articulation, but it doesn't seem to do a whole lot. Either that or it is doing something and I just can't see it because of the tunic. But yeah, you can crunch forward like that, arc back that much, pivot, swivel, all that good jazz. The belt is on a floating, well, it is just floating there, sorry. This piece is a bit bizarre. His crotch guard is hard plastic. This could have quite easily used the same technology as the Namek style, Namek Saga Goku's crotch, so that it could bend and curve out of the way, which is a bit of a shame. So he can kick forward that much. He does have the old school pull down hips, which is strange seeing that on a Figuarts today in 2024. But using that, he can kick up that much. He does have a hidden thigh swivel, which I think it does a little bit, but really the ball joint's doing most of the work. Double joint at the knee, gets that far. The ankles are just non-existent. Like, that's as far that's as far you're getting. Yeah, not terribly impressed with that. You can go back that much, forward that much, and toe articulation, all that good jazz. Yeah, they could have quite easily like cut a bit of this sculpt away and no one would have even noticed. Like, I get Tamashii are good with their accuracy with stuff, but there's a time to be overly accurate and there's a time not to be. So yeah. But yeah, guys, to get that back off and pop that back on. So yeah, you know what? We will just do the quick comparisons right now. I get that the video has gone on for a little bit too long, but what you're going to do, so we have Vader there. This is the Black Series. I believe this is the 40th anniversary of A New Hope, the very first version of Vader that they done. And as you can see, like, I thought this figure was really good at its release. I still do think it's quite good, apart from those bloody legs. Yeah, he has an inclination to just do the splits whenever he feels like it. But yeah, you can see there's not really much contest here. The Figuarts one takes it by a country mile. Although Robo from Robo Doesn't Know, he took this cape off, put it on that Vader, and it looked really good. So yeah, maybe worth doing. In fact, let me do it just quickly. And with the power of jump cuts, there it is. Yeah, I might just be keeping it like that. It fits around the neck peg perfectly, and it drapes really naturally. To the point that, yeah, I might just be swapping that out, honestly. And finally, let's have a quick side-by-side comparison between father and son. So yeah, this is we'll just call him the Return of the Jedi look, but it's merchandised as like from the Mandalorian, even though it's not. But yeah, this is with custom soft goods, Record 409, who unfortunately is no longer about on eBay or anything like that, because I was going to ask him if they still done robes for this guy, but unfortunately not. So yeah, if anyone can find new replacements for soft goods, please let me know in the comments. So yeah, guys, that'll do it for this review. Let me know what you think of this guy. Is he worth the price? I would say yes, but if you're willing to wait, just get the New Hope version. It's almost identical. So yeah, definitely, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.